Chapter 2. The gentleman, Mr. Riley, had waxy skin and fat hands. He was highly educated for an auctioneer and appraiser, but also enjoyed the company of simple country people such as Mr. Tulliver. The two friends sat with their brandy and discussed a local dispute over a dam and the two loathsome lawyers, Dix and Wakem, who handled the case. At a pause in the conversation, Mr. Tulliver nervously brought up the subject of his son's education. Upon hearing Tom's name, Maggie, who was seated with a book nearby, looked up. "You see, I want to put him in a better school," said Mr. Tulliver. "Yes, there is no greater gift than a good education," said Mr. Riley. "Not that a man cannot be an excellent miller and farmer, as well as a shrewd businessman, without help from school," he added politely. "I agree," said Mr. Tulliver. "But the thing is, I don't want Tom to be a miller and farmer. Why, if he were, he'd expect to take my mill and my land. I've seen enough of that with sons. I want him to have an education and go into business for himself, so that he won't want to push me out of mine. He can have it when I'm dead and gone, but he won't send me off while I still have my teeth." Mr. Tulliver spoke with such strong feeling that Maggie took offence. She jumped from her stool, knocking over her book, and ran over to her father. "Father, Tom would never do that to you. I know he wouldn't." Mr. Tulliver was touched. He laughed and took the little girl's hands. He looked at Mr. Riley and spoke as if Maggie couldn't hear. "She is so clever. She understands everything. And you should hear her read. It's bad for a woman to be so clever. It will turn into trouble, I'm sure. But she reads books and understands them better than most grown-ups." Maggie blushed with excitement. She hoped Mr. Riley would respect her now. The man had picked up her fallen book and was flipping the pages. "Come here and tell me about this book," he said to her. Maggie went to him and put her hand on the book. "Yes, look at this dreadful picture. This old woman in the water is a witch. They've put her in there to find out if she is or not. If she swims, she's a witch, but if she drowns, then she was innocent. Not that it would do her any good, she'd be dead. And there's laughing blacksmith here. He's the devil. The devil takes the shape of wicked men, who make people do wicked things." Mr. Tulliver listened to Maggie with great wonder. "What kind of book is that?" he asked. "It's The History of the Devil by Daniel Defoe." "Not quite right for a little girl," said Mr. Riley. "You should put this down and read something prettier." "Yes, I know this book isn't pretty, but I like to make up my own stories to the pictures. I do have other books." She ran across the room to fetch another one, but her father ordered her to go find her mother. Not wanting to see her, Maggie instead hid behind a chair and began playing with a doll. "It's too bad she's not a boy," said Mr. Tulliver. "She'd make a great lawyer. But the thing is," he lowered his voice, "I married her mother because she wasn't too smart and wouldn't be telling me what to do. It's ironic when a man has brains and a soft wife, and then ends up with a smart girl and a stupid boy." "But your boy is not stupid, is he?" asked Mr. Riley. "Not completely stupid. He's good at working with his hands and has a sort of common sense. But he speaks and reads poorly and is shy with strangers. I want to send him to a school that will make a smart man out of him. You're quite right, Tulliver. I would do the same thing if I had a son. However, I haven't the money for it, and I have a house full of daughters too. But I wouldn't recommend that you send him to a regular school if you have the money to do better. If you want your boy to have a superior education, you should hire a tutor. I know someone. He is an Oxford man. He's a parson." "Really?" said Mr. Tulliver. "What would he want with Tom?" "Well, he's fond of teaching and wishes to keep